All right. I want to thank everyone for joining our session today. Of course, the series COVID-19 Pandemic and the Exploitation of Increased Use of Virtual Environments. Today's session will be covering education technology compromise. First off, I want to thank our sponsor, MVB Bank, member FDIC. My name is Jamon Whitehead, president of Paladin Fraud Consulting. We work with merchants, online retailers, and financial institutions to guard against fraud in digital and online environments. And with me today, I've got a special guest, Cara Coleman from MVB Bank. Thank you, Cara, for joining. Welcome.
Hi, Jamon. Thanks for having me in. I've been in security for over 20 years, and my role here at MVB Bank as the Information Security Officer is to protect both our consumers as well as corporate information assets. So thank you for allowing me to share my information on security tips today.
Yeah, absolutely. Cara, really excited you were able to join us today. Really excited about this session. Really important topic, of course. As all or most of you well know, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced many students into a home-based school environment. Unfortunately, this has also led to an increase in the number of individuals attempting to take advantage of the use of these educational environments. While the technologies involved provide important communication services for education, people may look to exploit vulnerabilities in these systems. Certainly we've seen hackers and malicious users take advantage of crisis and disasters in the past, and certainly the current COVID-19 crisis is no different. So again, thanks for joining us today. Really excited about this agenda. In today's session, we'll be covering a few related topics. First, we'll discuss the potential for compromise. When we talk about compromise here, we're really talking about security threats in our technology systems. Then we'll spend some time on the potential impacts of those threats. And then lastly, we'll provide some helpful tips for reducing the impacts of those threats. So, Cara, do you want to kick us off here, talk about these threats?
Sure. Because we move so quickly to online learning and education technology, we need to be mindful really of data privacy as well as online safety, right? So we're really at greater risk for issues when students' activities are not closely monitored. And take that into account.
Yeah, great points, Cara. That's really good stuff. So, as Cara points out, the really two key areas here, those are privacy and safety. And really that goes for all of us, but especially, when children are interacting with these environments. And really the two go hand in hand, privacy and safety, that is. In this new environment, many children have been introduced to technologies very quickly, with little to no advance notice. Many of them don't have foundation required to ensure privacy online. And a breach of this privacy online might lead to children being exposed to inappropriate or unsafe websites, or in other cases may end up communicating with strangers with malicious intent. So now that we know about some of the potential negative impacts, Cara and I will provide some helpful tips to try to help keep kids safe. Cara, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. So school districts across the United States are really adjusting to on this change in learning, right, which is now an online environment. So all the initial Zoom calls and whatnot. So parents and families should take care to address some of these following considerations. And James is going to start us off with those.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Cara. The first one here, really want to suggest closely monitoring, children's use of these technologies. And much like kind of the typical school day where kids come home, parents check in, who did you, what did you learn today? What did your teacher tell you? Did you make any new friends? What are you working on? Things like this. Similarly, you want to check in with your kids while they're interacting with some of these technologies on their devices. Who did you meet today? Did you see your teacher? What did you discuss? What websites are you using? What other resources online are you touching on? Things like this, to ensure that they're being productive and first of all, and that they're not getting into trouble, logging into sites that are irrelevant or in worst case unsafe. Secondly, we definitely recommend that you research the technology service user agreements. In many cases, the embedded security measures and technologies that are meant to keep kids safe while they're on the technology are within those documents and those agreements. So while you might think they're boring, there's definitely some really great and helpful information in some of those agreements. Next, we definitely recommend conducting regular internet searches for your child's information. And similarly to us Googling ourselves to kind of see what photos are out there, what articles, what links, similar to this, or more importantly, for children, you definitely want to make sure that there's no sensitive information out there, photos of your kids that might be inappropriate, things of this nature, to ensure that their behavior while online is appropriate and they're taking precautions. Next, as it relates to the hardware itself, a lot of the discussion thus far has really been about the software, what the kids are doing online, who they're interacting with online. But of course, that computer, that hardware contains a lot of sensitive information as well. And so, if you're traveling and bringing the computer along, kids might have to log on at some point at grandma's house or at a friend's house, or even on vacation to do some schoolwork. Ensure that hardware is in a secure location, whether whether you're traveling with it, whether it's being stored or otherwise. Mm-hmm. And lastly, on this page, we definitely recommend you consider creditor or identity theft monitoring. And this really goes, regardless of education technology. Really, children with sensitive information might be compromised, and in many cases, that information is being used for identity theft. And kids or parents might not know that child's identity has been stolen until maybe they turn 18 and they're trying to get a credit card or maybe even a car loan. So again, this is a really great tip that we highly recommend. Even once we move beyond the requirement of some of this education technologies, just for long-term security and safety of the children.
Right.
With that, Cara, do you want to walk us through these next few tips?
Sure, absolutely. The other thing you can do is there's lots of great research out there for parent coalition and student privacy information sharing organizations, and they have free toolkits available and guides that cover the protection of personal data. So I highly recommend that you research that. Next, you want to take a look at school-related and education technology cyber breaches. You can easily Google this online. And you might want to reach out and see if any of the data that they may have on your student can be deleted. And then lastly, when creating a user profile for your children, it's important to use initials instead of a first name, or avoid using exact birth dates, for example. And lastly, don't include any kind of photography. Those are all good practices.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Cara. Those are really great tips. Now, I really want to thank everyone for joining us in this short session. Of course, prioritizing student safety and privacy is more important than ever. As kids and students have moved online, especially in such a rapid pace, with little to no advance notice. I think we've all done a fantastic job adapting, to ensuring that our students are and continue to be, well educated. But certainly we wanted to call out, a few of these tips here and concerns. So thanks for paying attention. Really want to thank our sponsor, MVB Bank, member FDIC. MVB Bank, trusted partner on the financial frontier, committed to your success. Thank you so much, Cara, for joining.
Thank you, Jamon, and thank you, everyone. I hope you found these security tips helpful for your protection and online safety.
Outstanding. And if anyone has any questions, of course, this is a recorded session, but you're welcome to reach out, info@paladinfraud.com. I'll be responding to those questions directly via email, and then we'll also be taking some of those questions and concerns, things of this nature, in mind when creating future sessions. If you have an idea for a theme or a topic that you'd like us to cover, certainly feel free to reach out there as well. Of course, this is an ongoing series, and we'll be touching on various topics throughout the rest of the year. So thanks again to everyone who joined. Thank you, MVB Bank, sponsor member FDIC. Jamon Whitehead, signing out. Thank you.